जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय गोपी जनवल्लभा गिरिवरधर हरि जय जय गोपी जनवल्लभा गिरिवरधर हरि यशोदानंदन व्रजजनरंजन यशोदानंदन व्रजजनरंजन यमुना तेरा वन हरि यमुना तेरा वन हरि जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय गोपी जनवल्लभा गिरिवरधर हरि जय गोपी जनवल्लभा गिरिवरधर हरि यशोदानंदन व्रजजनरंजन यशोदानंदन व्रजजनरंजन यमुना तेरा वन हरि यमुना तेरा वन हरि जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी जय गोपी जनवल्लभा गिरिवरधर हरि जय गोपी जनवल्लभा गिरिवरधर हरि Yashodanandana Brajajanaranjana Yashodanandana Brajajanaranjana Yamunatira Vanatra Hari Yamunatira Vanatra Hari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jaya Radha Shyam Sundar Radha Shyam Sundar Radhe. Jaya Radha Shyam Radha Shyam Radha Shyam Jaya Radha Shyam. Jaya Krishna Balaram, Krishna Balaram, Krishna Balaram, Jaya Krishna Balaram. Jaya Gauranitai, 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 Jaya Gauranitai. Nitai Gaura Hadibal, 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 Nitai Gaura Hadibal. Nitai Gaura Hadibal, 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 Nitai Gaura Hadibal. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Gurudev, 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 Jaya Jaya Gurudev. Jayam Vishwapat Paramahamsa Jaya Shota Satta Shishimachila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada Ki. Jayam Vishwapat Paramahamsa Jaya Shota Satta Shishimachila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur Srila Prabhupada Ki. Anantakodi Vaishnava Vrinda Ki. Sirup Sisanatan Bhatta Raghunath Ji Gopal Bhatta Dasa Raghunath Sadi Goswami Prabhu Ki. प्रेम से को श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवजरी गौर भक्त वृंद की श्री राधा कृष्ण गो गोपा गोपी गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंद राधा कुंद गिरि गोवर्धन की वृंदावन धाम की मथुरा धाम की मैपुर धाम की जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की तुलसी महारानी भक्ति देवी की गंगा यमुनी देवी की हरे नाम संकीर्तन यज्ञ की श्री श्री गौनिताय की श्री श्री कृष्ण बलराम की श्री श्री राधा श्याम सुंदर की गौर प्रेमानंदे हरि हरि बोल समवेत भक्त वृंद की all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to the assembled devotees, all glories to Sri Guru and Sri Gauranga, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Reading from the Bhagavad Gita as it is, text number, the 11th chapter, the universal form, text number 49. Mate vyatā macha vimūḍha-bhāvo dṛṣṭvā rūpaṁ ghoram īdṛṅ mamedam vyapeta-bhīḥ prīta-manāḥ punas tvam tadeva me rūpam idam prapaśya mate vyatā macha vimūḍha-bhāvo dṛṣṭvā rūpaṁ ghoram īdṛṅ mamedam vyapeta-bhīḥ prīta-manāḥ punas tvam tad-eva me rūpam idam prapaśya mate vyatā vimūḍha-bhāvo dṛṣṭvā rūpaṁ ghoram īdṛṅ mamedam vyapeta-bhīḥ prīta-manāḥ punas tvam tadeva me rūpam idam prapaśya mate vyatā vimūḍha-bhāvo dṛṣṭvā rūpaṁ ghoram īdṛṅ mamedam vyapeta-bhīḥ prīta-manāḥ punas tvam tadeva me rūpam idam prapaśya mate vyatā vimūḍha-bhāvo dṛṣṭvā rūpaṁ ghoram īdṛṅ mamedam vyapeta-bhīḥ prīta-manāḥ punas tvam tadeva me rūpam idam prapaśya mate vyatā vimūḍha-bhāvo dṛṣṭvā rūpaṁ ghoram īdṛṅ mamedam vyapeta-bhīḥ prīta-manāḥ punas tvam tadeva me rūpam idam prapaśya mate vyatā vimūḍha-bhāvo dṛṣṭvā rūpaṁ ghoram īdṛṅ mamedam vyapeta-bhīḥ prīta-manāḥ punas tvam tadeva me rūpam idam prapaśya. Matajis, mate vyatā vimūḍha-bhāvo vyapeta-bhīḥ prīta-manāḥ punas tvam tadeva me rūpam idam prapaśya Ma, let it not be te unto you vyatha, trouble. Ma, let it not be cha, also vimūḍha-bhāva, bewilderment. Dṛṣṭvā, by seeing. Rūpam, form. Ghoram, horrible. Idrk, as it is. Mama, my. Idam, this. Vyapeta-bhīḥ, free from all fear. Prīta-manāḥ, pleased in mind. Punaḥ, again. Tvam, you. Tat, that. Eva, thus. Me, my. Rūpam, form. Idam, this. Prapaśya, just see. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki. Translation. You have been perturbed and bewildered by seeing this horrible form of mine. Now let it be finished, my devotee. Be free again from all disturbances. With a peaceful mind you can now see the form you desire. Purport. In the beginning of Bhagavad Gita, Arjuna was worried about killing Bhishma and Drona, his worshipful grandfather and master. But Krishna said that he need not be afraid of killing his grandfather. When the sons of Dhritarashtra tried to disrobe Draupadi in the assembly of the Kurus, Bhishma and Drona were silent, and for such negligence of duty they should be killed. Krishna showed his universal form to Arjuna just to show him that these people were already killed for their unlawful action. That scene was shown to Arjuna because devotees are always peaceful and they cannot perform such horrible actions. The purpose of the revelation of the universal form was shown. Now Arjuna wanted to see the forearm form and Krishna showed him. A devotee is not much interested in the universal form, for it does not enable one to reciprocate loving feelings. Either a devotee wants to offer his respectful, worshipful feelings, or he wants to see the two-handed form Krishna so that he can reciprocate in loving service with the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Mama jnana timidandasya jnananjana salakaya chakasodon militam yanam tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhistam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Sayam Rupa Kadamayam Dadati Sapadantigam Bandeham Sri Guru Sri Yutabodakamalan Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sri Rūpaṁ Sagrajatam Sahagana Raganatan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Larita Sri Vishakan Vidamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dīnabandhu Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastude Datta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa sindhubhya cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namaha Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Arjuna was very fortunate to see the universal form of Krishna. A very unusual form of the Lord. Sahasra Shesha Purushaha Sahasraksha Sahasrapad. Universal form of the Lord, having thousands of heads, thousands of arms and legs, and everything of this world, of the material world, situated in that form. So Arjuna, a pure devotee of the Lord, was very much amazed to see this form. And then he was struck with wonder also. And of course, this kind of form, this form of the Lord, is to some extent bewildering also. And as explained here by Srila Prabhupada in the purport, that a devotee is not much interested in the universal form, because one is not able to have some loving relationship, reciprocation with that form. So thousands of heads, thousands of arms. So when there's only one head, one mouth, and then you can speak to that person, but with thousands of heads, how you can speak to that person, and how you can embrace that person. So Arjuna was very close to Krishna. As we know, he's the eternal associate of Krishna. But even in this world, so the familial relationship is there. And so they were best of friends. And as friends, sometimes they embrace each other. And they talk very often to each other in a very loving way. So he was used to have this wonderful relationship with Krishna. But then when the universal form is there, so then he was there in respectful form, and he was not feeling very much inspired to have this loving relationship at that point, seeing this universal form. So seeing this universal form, then he offered prayers and he expressed to Krishna that fine, I have seen this universal form by your mercy, but now please, let me see again your form. And then let me see again your tvam form. So the four-arm form is also, of course, because in this material world, everyone has two arms usually. Of course, sometimes some people, they come in this world with some human beings also with some defect. And sometimes there may be extra fingers are there, even maybe some extra arm may be there. But usually a human being, normal human being, has two arms, two legs, and one head. Arjuna was always full of love for Krishna, and he preferred to see this form. But in Dwarka, sometimes Krishna is showing the four-armed form. And sometimes he's there in two-armed form. And Arjuna wanted to impress also to others that, so Krishna is showing this universal form just to show ultimately his omnipotence, potency, that is all powerful, that is a supreme being. And then also the form is there of the Supreme Lord, Vishnu, or Narayan. Whereas the two-arm form sometimes may be misunderstood, like the two-arm form of Krishna. Sometimes only people, they think that Krishna is just an ordinary person like we are. Because of especially Krishna's oncoming activities in Braj, which are actually most wonderful, but not everyone can understand. When Krishna is playing with his friends and is performing pastimes with the gopis, not everyone can understand. Many people, they become bewildered by that form of the Lord. But that very form of Krishna is the original form of the Lord, and the most beautiful, most powerful, most amazing form of the Lord. So Krishna is extremely merciful to his devotees, and Krishna is fulfilling the desires of his devotees also. All the devotees, they want to simply serve Krishna for Krishna's pleasure. Anyabhilashita shunyam jnana karma navritam anukulina Krishna shilanam bhakti rūpaṁ. The devotees of Krishna, of the Lord, they have only one desire, to satisfy Krishna, ultimately. They don't want anything for themselves. Anyabhilashita shunyam, no abhilash, anyabhilash, no other desire, except Krishna anushilanam, anukul bhav, anukulyena, favorable mood is there, wanting to do what Krishna wants, Krishna anushilanam. At the same time, if the devotee sometimes has some desire to serve Krishna in a specific way, or as here to see Krishna's tvam form, then Krishna immediately will fulfill that. Even we can see the lives of the devotees, as mentioned in Bhagavatam, like Ghoram Muni, a great devotee of the Lord. He was a great yogi. He was doing yoga, meditation, in order to achieve the Supreme Lord, in loving reciprocation with the Lord. And then somehow he had a small desire, just came in his heart, that maybe I should have a companion, maybe I should get married. But then he thought, when this came into his mind, that no, I should just do my devotional service, my bhajan. That would be not very beneficial to get married. It is an entanglement. But then the Supreme Lord, being pleased with Ghoram Muni, and of course also because when the Lord appears in this world, He appears in a family of devotees. Krishna, although he is unborn, Aja, but when he appears in this world, he appears amongst his associates, amongst his devotees. So therefore, the Supreme Lord inspired Lord Brahma to look for a beautiful wife for Ghoram Muni. And then the arrangement was made. And the Emperor Swayambhu Manu's daughter, then Devahuti, was given in marriage, being inspired by the Lord and being requested by Lord Brahma. She was given to Ghoram Muni, and he accepted. And as we know, then later on Kapil Dev appeared as the son of Ghoram Muni and Devahuti. So Arjuna, he wanted to see again the tvam form, and the Supreme Lord immediately then fulfilled the desire of Arjuna. So from one point of view we may think, well, the form of Narayan or the form of Krishna. In Dwarka, when Krishna has 4 arms, so that is superior than Krishna with 2 arms. 4 arms are more than 2, right? And he can do more with 4 arms. But Krishna is the Mool Roop. He's Swayam Bhagavan, he's the original form, the original personality of Godhead. And as shown here in the universal form, and as shown here also, he can manifest so many arms and so many legs, so many heads. Sahasra Purushaha. But his original form in Braj has only 2 arms. But even here in Braj, in the pastimes, the most wonderful pastimes, sometimes, very rarely, Krishna also shows a 4-arm form in transcendental play. Just like at one point, when Krishna had called all the gopis, and the night for Ras Leela, they all came, and Ras Leela was performed. And then Srimati Radharani, who saw that so many gopis are there, gopis from the rival group, Vipaksha gopis, headed by Chandravali, and then other gopis were there, not from Radharani's groups, ordinary gopis, and some gopis who had just joined Krishna's pastimes. First time being able to be with Krishna, to dance with Krishna. One time Prabhupada said that the goal of our life is to dance with Krishna. So all the gopis were there and dancing with Krishna. One Krishna is there, but here also in this instance of the Ras Leela, he expanded himself in as many forms as gopis were there. So between two gopis was one Krishna. And so many gopis were there, and Krishna was having this wonderful Ras Leela, and all the gopis were thinking, oh, Krishna is with me. Krishna is reciprocating with me, wonderful Krishna. And truly Krishna is reciprocating with everyone. Just like the sun. The sun is reciprocating with all the human beings, or all living entities actually. Everyone is blessed by the sun, by the rays of the sun. Of course, in the summer when it's too hot, then we try not to be too much in the sun. And we see that in Vedic culture, Vaishnava culture, cultured person in the morning, after getting up and after the sun has risen, then they will offer some argya, they will offer some water from a pot, copper pot, or nowadays stainless steel cup, and they will offer respect to Surya Dev. And Surya Dev, so in the sun planet is there, and there is the personality of Surya Dev, a great demigod, and is reciprocating with everyone. Very powerful. And thousands of people, especially in India, they will in the morning, even in Vrindavan, still you can see many of the Brijabasis, they will offer respect to the sun every morning by offering argya, water in a pot, and showing to the pot and then leaving the water as an offering to Surya Dev. And is reciprocating. So what to speak of Krishna? Krishna is the source of everything. And the light of the sun is actually Krishna, is coming from Krishna's effulgence, the Brahma Jyoti. Similarly, the light of the moon and the stars also. So Krishna is reciprocating with everyone. So during the Ras Leela, I danced with so many of the gopis. But then Radharani, she was a little disappointed because so many gopis are there, and some from the rival gopis, and new gopis who just joined first time. So therefore she decided to leave the rasa dance. And when Krishna saw that Radharani is not there anymore, although millions of gopis were still there, he was not fully satisfied. And he was searching for Srimati Radharani. Although Krishna is Atmaram, Aptakam, is fully self-satisfied by nature. But in the loving exchange, so he's reciprocating with his devotees. And especially with Srimati Radharani, because her love is most wonderful, most exalted. And so he's longing for that loving exchange. And that is increasing his pleasure, that is increasing Krishna's beauty. Radharani's beauty, Radharani's love. So then he saw Radharani and they were together for some time. But then Srimati Radharani became transcendentally a little bit proud. So there's transcendental pride. Krishna is in the center. Because of that, Krishna also left Srimati Radharani. And then everyone was looking for Krishna. Radharani, the gopis. And they were searching, and then Krishna at one point he manifested his form. And the gopis were looking and they couldn't recognize that this is actually Shyama Sundar. They saw Vishnu, Narayan. And they asked, "Hey Bhagavan, oh my dear Lord, have you seen Krishna?" And Krishna, who had assumed the form of Narayan, said, "No, I don't know where is Krishna." So they were looking here and there, but when Srimati Radharani comes, because of her love, then he could not remain in that form. And again he was there manifested, and his original form as Shyama Sundar is there. So Krishna is most wonderful, Adbhuta Krishna. His pastimes are wonderful. Reciprocating with his devotees. All the devotees want to simply please Krishna, but because of their love and because Krishna feels obliged, because of their love, so therefore he wants to reciprocate, and he's reciprocating in a very wonderful way. So spiritual life is actually all about a loving relationship with Krishna, but then also with all the associates of Krishna. And Krishna doesn't want to see his devotees disturbed. Therefore here, Krishna is telling Arjuna that you have been perturbed, you have been disturbed and bewildered by seeing this form of mine. Ghora rūpa. Ghora means like horrible form. So therefore Krishna is saying, let it be finished now. And you can see my form, my original form. And please, my devotee, my dear Arjuna, be free from all disturbances. And you can see me with a peaceful mind. So everyone wants to be peaceful. And that is actually natural, to be in a loving relationship with Krishna in a peaceful situation. But in the material world, some difficulties will always be there. But we should have faith, and we should know that Krishna will always help us. Krishna is always with us, and he will help us overcome all difficulties. We just have to be tolerant, and we have to be patient. And understand that Krishna, he has a plan, and Krishna is always there for us, and Krishna is helping us, and Krishna wants us to be peaceful. So, but we have to be patient, and we have to understand that it is the nature of this world, that difficulties will be there. So the Pandavas, they had to undergo so many difficulties. But Krishna was always there. Of course, one may be thinking Krishna is the Supreme Lord, why he's putting his devotees in such difficulties and not helping them immediately. And Krishna is always there to help his devotees. But sometimes he's acting in such a way to fulfill different purposes, and we may not be able to immediately understand why Krishna is doing what he is doing, in whatever way he is doing. So then we simply have to depend on Krishna, and know that whatever is happening, that is by Krishna's will, and it has some purpose. And ultimately everything is ultimately then also properly adjusted for us also. We simply have to continue with our devotional service with faith, with enthusiasm, with determination. But we have to be patient, because things are not always going the way we think it should go. So then we have to be patient and understand Krishna has his plan. So Krishna, Prabhupada is also explaining that Bhishmadev and Drona, they were the worshipable personalities for Arjuna and for the Pandavas, but due to circumstances, because they were obliged to be with Duryodhana, so therefore they were to be actually also killed. And of course we know that, and Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, and we have experienced, everyone who takes birth in this world, he has to die also. And one who dies, he has to take birth again. At the same time, we also know we are all eternal servants of Krishna. We are not this body, we are spirit soul. So ultimately then, for the devotee, for the knowledgeable person, there is no birth and there is no death. But one has to accept the body and one has to leave the body. One is appearing in one place and then staying for some time and then disappearing. But then also for the soul there is neither birth nor death. It is simply the body who is coming into existence, staying some time and then again the body has to be destroyed ultimately in whatever way that is unavoidable. And therefore one should not lament for this material existence. But one has to remain fixed, one has to be dhira, one has to be sober and understand the nature of this material world. One has to understand the spiritual nature, which is eternal, full of bliss. And the material world is temporary and it is full of misery. But if one is properly situated on the spiritual platform, then one can more easily one can tolerate the difficulties of this world. And one can see things as they are. But then by Krishna's internal potency, even the devotees, sometimes they are bewildered, but that is spiritual bewilderment, that is not material. Sometimes even devotee doesn't know what to do. Even Prabhupada sometimes expressed, what shall I do now? Not being exactly sure what Krishna wanted him to do. Even one time here in Krishna Balaram Mandir, so in his old age, and then so the signs were there that he may have to leave this world. But then of course all the devotees, they wanted him to stay. That is natural. The disciples, they do not want that the spiritual master leaves. And they were praying to Krishna, please let him stay some time more. And they were telling Prabhupada also, please you stay longer with us. We need you, we need you. And then Prabhupada one time also expressed that I do not know exactly what Krishna wants me to do. If I should stay here now some time more and preach more, do some more translation, or Krishna wants me to go. Of course, devotee is always ready to do whatever Krishna wants. And usually he knows what Krishna wants. But sometimes then also some bewilderment is there, but it is transcendental. Krishna is in the center. Then he will say, Krishna, I don't know what you want me to do. You want me to go left or right? What do you want me to do? Not clear, but then he will pray to Krishna, please Krishna, let me know what you want me to do. So there's a reciprocation is there, wonderful reciprocation. But the devotee always wanting to do what Krishna wants. But then Krishna is also reciprocating with his devotees, and he will do sometimes what Krishna, what they want. So even in, so many pastimes are there in these regards also. Krishna is so satisfied with the devotees' service that he will try to in many ways help the devotees without even them asking him. Like Ranganath Das Goswami was chanting at Radhakund, and at that time there were some wild animals also. It was not so developed like nowadays. And tigers were coming also. And then so Ranganath was chanting, and then one tiger came. And Sanat Goswami had told Ranganath Das Goswami, before you should try to have a bhajan kutir, so that nobody will disturb you, and you can do peacefully your chanting. And so then Sanat Goswami was just nearby also, and he saw tiger is there. And he saw Ranganath Das Goswami just chanting. And tiger is hungry, he doesn't see that this is a devotee or this is a non-devotee, or is an animal or a man. He will just see there's something living here, as can be my food today. So he was passing very close. He was very near Ranganath Das Goswami, and then Krishna came, holding the flute and guarding Ranganath from the tiger. And then the tiger had to go another way because Krishna was there with the flute. And so then Krishna disappeared, and Sanat Goswami saw that, and he came to Ranganath Das Goswami and told him that we are there to serve the divine couple, and we should not accept any seva from them. And Ranganath is saying, yes, I know, we should just serve, yes. But here, you're doing here bhajan and unprotected, and one tiger came here, so Krishna had to come to protect you. Oh, what to do, I'm sorry. So you should do bhajan kutir here. You should have a bhajan kutir here, so that you can do your bhajan undisturbed. Okay, I will try to see. But then he was just doing his daily activities, taking bath in Radhakund and chanting the holy names and offering obeisances to the Lord and to the Vaishnavas. And again one day he was chanting, and then it was very hot. And the sun was there. And Raghunath Das was chanting and sweating. And if it is very hot in the summer, like now, of course today also, there was some rain, there was some relief, but otherwise it's very hot. And if you are not careful, you can get a sunstroke. So he was there sweating, and Sanatan from a distance again saw, oh, he's there chanting in the summer and it's so hot. And then Srimati Radharani appeared there with a veil putting over Ranganath Das Goswami's body. And so Sanat Goswami immediately ran towards Raghunath Das Goswami, and then Srimati Radharani disappeared again. And then he scolded him. Sanat Goswami scolded Raghunath Das Goswami, see again now, you're thinking seva from the divine couple, first Krishna, now Radharani came here to protect you from the sun. So that is not good. And then Raghunath Das Goswami, of course, immediately also felt a little bad. Yes, you're right, I should have a bhajan kutir. And then some rich persons who were living nearby, so they were ready to make a small bhajan kutir. So Krishna and Srimati Radharani is reciprocating. They are reciprocating with their devotees. So Krishna is very, very merciful. So here, being merciful to Arjuna, and then ultimately also to instruct all of us to bestow mercy upon us by attentively hearing what Krishna is saying, then one becomes purified in consciousness, and then one can realize ultimately Krishna's beautiful form, and one can enter into relationship with Krishna, which is the goal of life. So we have to practice having a personal relationship with Krishna. And so by the mercy of Srila Prabhupada, so installed the beautiful deities here. And in this way we can practice, or we can enter into the relationship with Krishna, Gonita, Krishna Balaram, Radha Shama Sundar, Lalita Vishaka, on a daily basis. And then we can see practically in our life that the reciprocation is there, the help is there, the protection is there. And then we can advance in our spiritual life more and more. So we should always feel thankful or grateful to Hari Guru Vaishnav, to the Supreme Lord Krishna, Krishna Hari or Gaura Hari. We should feel obliged, and also to Mahaprabhu, to Srila Prabhupada, so who have brought this Braj Bhakti, Braj Bhav. And by practicing them, we can make our life successful, especially by chanting the holy names. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Although we may have no qualifications, especially in the age of Kali, the general mass of people, they have no qualification to engage in spiritual activities, doing so many austerities, so much chanting or studying or bhajan. But still, by the mercy of Mahaprabhu, so we can rapidly advance if we take it up seriously, this process of chanting the holy names in the association of the Vaishnavas, by hearing Gokatha and Krishna Katha, by serving the deities, we can make rapid advancement in spiritual life. Srila Prabhupada ki. Hare Krishna. Any question?
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you so much for the wonderful explanation of this verse. Prabhu, I have a question. The purport, Srila Prabhupada writes that Arjuna was worried about killing the Bhishma and Dora
Yes.
in the beginning of the Mahabharata war. But when we see in the Virat war, Arjuna as alone, single-handedly, and no charioteer like Krishna, he was having only Uttar with him, and he single-handedly handled not only Drona and Bhishma, but all the warriors from the Kaurav side. So he was not at all worried at that point of time. But why is he worried now? This is my question, Maharaj.
Yes. Yes, actually that is a point which Prabhupada is making here in purport. Yes, I was also going to discuss that point, that Prabhupada is writing here that Bhishma and Drona, so they were the worshipable grandfather and spiritual master of Arjuna, but because they were in Dhritarashtra's side, Dhritarashtra's son, the Duryodhana's side, so they were obliged. Of course, so many reasons are there, as we know, why they were obliged to be together with Duryodhana. And so the point Prabhupada is making, and which we all understand, that when Draupadi was there and she was insulted, then Bhishma Dev and Drona didn't say anything at that point. And then Prabhupada is writing that because of that unlawful action, or actually inaction, they should have said something. And even Draupadi expressed that, and she was looking at everyone, at Bhishma Dev, Dronacharya, at the Pandavas, then they were all silent. Because Bhishma Dev and Drona, they were feeling, of course, obliged, or they were feeling that we are maintained by Duryodhana, so therefore we cannot say anything. Also because actually Yudhishthira, he lost in the gambling match. So therefore, they were hesitant to say anything. So everyone was silent at that point. And therefore, Prabhupada is writing that, so therefore they had to face the consequences. Although they were actually devotees of the Lord, Bhishma Dev, he's a Mahajan, he's a great personality. And we should respect the great personalities, we should follow in their footsteps. But due to circumstances, they were obliged to act in this way. And they themselves also, they were not happy with the situation, and they were trying to speak to Duryodhana also, not to act in such a way, inimical way towards the Pandavas. But Duryodhana was not listening to them. So it is a very awkward situation. But then Krishna, of course, he protected Draupadi, and then he helped the Pandavas naturally, although he didn't take any drastic steps immediately. He could have killed everyone, but no. So he had a certain plan, and he wanted to do it his way. And so he wanted all the great kings to come together, especially in order to actually kill even though they may be also great kings, but they were not properly situated, not following dharma. So therefore they had to be killed. And so Bhishma and Drona, so because anyhow we have to give up the body, so it was time for them also to give up the body. But one who is righteous is always protected, although sometimes due to circumstances one may be in such a position which is not ideal, like Bhishma and Drona, but then they were still protected by the Lord also, because they were righteous, but they were just forced to act in a certain way. So here Arjuna then he was perplexed, so he was not ready to fight, because there is Gurujan. But then also Krishna told him that actually we should fight against them also, because they are on Duryodhana's side, and Duryodhana is on the side of Adharma, so that was not lawful, that was not proper what he was doing, and they were on his side, so therefore their actions were also not to be considered proper, although they were righteous by nature, but they were in this awkward situation. So Arjuna, so he was, and everyone was in a perplexed situation. So many of the warriors there, but somehow, sometimes these situations arise in this material world, and one is perplexed, one is not understanding why this is happening in this way. But then, so Krishna, so he has his way of doing the things in this world, sometimes directly. Krishna, not even a blade of grass can move without the sanction of the Lord, but sometimes then through the external energy things are happening. And so then Krishna is always there with his devotees, and everything is adjusted properly ultimately. So Arjuna, he was a little perplexed, a little bewildered, and even a little afraid. But then he took always shelter of Krishna. And these are actually transcendental emotions which are there of the Lord always, and even the pure devotees. These are all transcendental emotions. So that we have to understand. But the certain situations which sometimes arise, as here, in this situation with Bhishma and Drona, so these are sometimes not so easy to understand. Why Krishna is arranging certain things to happen in a certain way. But then we have to simply accept it as the will of the Lord, even though we may not be able to completely understand. Many times it happens, actually. Even personally we may see in our lives, sometimes we cannot understand why things are happening in a certain way. But sometimes it may be that Krishna will reveal while he is doing it in such a way, or why things are happening in a certain way. But sometimes we may not understand, but we just have to accept. We have to accept. And we should have the faith that whatever Krishna does ultimately is for everyone's good, although we may not understand completely. So sometimes we may not have the answers also to certain situations, but then we simply have to accept it in this way, and we have to continue with our devotional service to the best of our ability. And that the main point is that we have to try to satisfy Krishna, and then in this way then everything is fine. So
Actually, Prabhu, the situation for the Bhishma and Drona
Yes.
in both wars were the same, because this assembly, whatever they have not said anything when Draupadi was being robed, that happened much before. The Virat war was after
Right.
that, and this war is after that. Maybe some reason could be there, we don't know, that at that point of time Arjun was so strong, and immediately he drove the chariot along with the Uttara, and then he handled all the Kauravas. But in this situation he is showing a different behavior. Maybe it's Krishna's arrangement that we can take to. Thank
Yes.
you. Thank you.
Yes, sometimes the acharyas also, they give some explanation sometimes, but sometimes there may be no explanation there, and we just have to accept this in this way, what to do. Yeah. So we'll stop here. Srila Prabhupada ki, and we have some prasad for everyone.